What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video, man. Today it's gonna be the first ever storytime video on this YouTube channel. I came to realize after looking through my videos, I haven't made a storytime video ever. So today is gonna be the story time of my first ever job. So let's rewind. 2019, man. I was 16 years old at the time, and you know, I got my heart broken. I'm not gonna lie with you. That's the reason why I got a job. I got my heart broken. It was summer. It was like June 2019. I got my heart broken, man, by this one girl, you know, I was trying to get with all sophomore year. And so I applied to many different places. Actually, one of the places I applied to was actually Yogurtland, man. Yogurtland, if you're watching this video, why didn't you call me back or hire me? Like, at least give me like an email or something, or like call me back and saying, yo, you know, we don't want you here. Like, you could have said that, but instead you didn't even like do nothing. You didn't even reply to my call. You did nothing. So that was kind of annoying. And I think there was this other place I applied to. I don't remember. I don't know if I applied to any other places now thinking about it. I think it was just Yogurtland, and then the second place that I actually got a job at. So the second place and the place I actually worked at for my first ever job was Harkins Theaters, man. If you guys don't know what Harkins Theaters is, it's this movie theaters based in Arizona. It's made from Arizona. I think there's like 2 locations or something in California. I remember the orientation, like they showed you the history of Harkins, you know, and I think there's only like 2 locations in California, the rest in Arizona. So it's like an Arizona based movie theater, but it's basically a movie theater, man. So my first ever job was working at a movie theater, and to be honest, I would say it's a pretty good job, man. You know, like I remember my first day. I still have the picture. That's gonna be the thumbnail of this video, the picture of my first day of work in my entire life. And I remember, man, my first ever shift was an 8-hour shift, and it was a something called an usher shift, which is basically like the people, you know, the people that like clean the theaters or whatever, or like kind of wait for you outside the theater, like when you walk out the theaters, like people there. That was basically me. I used to clean the theaters, man. I used to have to clean the bathrooms, stuff like that. And I remember my first ever shift, man, like 8 hours. Dude, my legs were literally like noodles because I wasn't used to, you know, walking and standing around for that long, man. My legs were like absolute noodles, and dude, it was rough, man. Like, I remember my first ever shift was rough, but then, you know, as time goes on, you get used to it and stuff. And working there was actually pretty good, man. Like, I actually have 0 problems working there, man. I had no problems working there at all. I remember the interview too. I got hired on the spot. You know, that means I guess I did a pretty good job, right? I got hired on the spot. I remember I was pulling up, man. It was hot, dude. I'm telling you, it was like June, so it was like peak summer, and I was wearing like, you know, I overdressed for it, obviously. This was my first job, man. I literally was wearing like, I think I was wearing like dress shoes, freaking like dress pants, like a nice color shirt. I think I like tucked my shirt as well, but I'm telling you, I was freaking dripped out, man. I had like the best suit possible. And yeah, the interview was pretty easy. You know, it was like your basic interview questions, like why do you want to work here? If this happened, what would you do? You know, like the basic stuff. Like they gave you situations, and then they asked you like, okay, why do you want to work here? What are you doing with your life? Kind of like those type of questions. You know what I mean? At 16 years old, I was kind of nervous. I'm not gonna lie with you. I was kind of nervous at the job interview, but I was 16, man. So what do you expect? You know what I mean? So I told him, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to high school. I'm a sophomore, going to be a junior in high school. Man, bro, that's crazy. Man, the thing about those days, man, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, I'm about to be a junior in high school, man. You know, and I'm just really, I want to work here because, you know, I always came here to watch movies. That's basically kind of what I said. I mean, you know, not word for word, but you know what I mean. And so with me getting the job there, I remember I got hired on the spot. I was like, yo, thank you. And then they handed me like this book of like what to do, or like this paper of like what to do to get home, like going to the website, basically like fill out the W-2 form and like taxes and stuff like that. You guys know how that goes. So I had to fill it out. And then I remember my orientation too was like 4 hours, bro. It was really cakewalk. You spend most of the time like chilling in this like room upstairs. And you just like watch like this PowerPoint about like what to do, what not to do, and stuff like that. It was real easy. Got my uniform too, and then the rest is history. The rest is literally history. I remember working all those usher shifts, you know, that's what it's called. And then there's one other shift called the door shift, bro. I remember I met so much people as well, and they used to make fun of me back in the day because I used to be 16 years old, and they also say, oh, I'm a baby, this and that, but I was like taller than them and like bigger than them, so I was like, bro, how does that make any sense? But anyways, man, other than usher in the beginning, you also work this thing called door, which is by far the worst thing imaginable. Okay, like what I'm about to describe to you guys, you know, like those people that like stand at like the podium when they like kind of check your tickets in. I don't know if it's like that for like AMC or anything, because honestly, I have not stepped foot in like AMC or any other movie theater in my life. Well, I've been to AMC like once or twice, but I'm mostly a guy that, you know, goes to Harkins Theaters, the place that I worked at. So there's like a guy that stands at the door that like rips your tickets or like checks your ticket to scan your tickets, whatever. And that is not even arguably the worst shift to work there. It is. Like, there's actually people that work there that liked it for some reason. I thought they were weird and psychopaths, but man, that shift was terrible. I'm talking like you just stand there for like for 6 hours, bro. Like literally like 6 hours, 30 minutes just standing there, and you can't move, you can't nothing. Like you look at the top of the trailers, you know what I mean? Because the movie theater I worked at, like here's like, okay, pretend like this is the door right here. So I used to like stay right here, man. People come in like, oh yeah, you know, and then you used to tell them like what theater you're using, or like say like the ticket shows a theater, you're like, okay, theater 4, that's to the left, and then it was like theater 18 to the right, you know what I mean? So it was like stuff like that. But when you were standing at the door, they used to have like a big trailer of like all the movies to come back there, and so I used to spend most of my time watching the trailers. And I remember the Trolls trailer is ingrained in my head. The Cats trailer, who remembers that movie Cats from like 2019, bro? That movie is ingrained in my skull and brain and cranium. That movie trailer is ingrained. It's a cursed movie, and I know a lot of people say it's horrible, but dude, that movie used to be always be playing, man, and oh my god, it was painful. It was painful. I'm not gonna lie with you. So like the first couple months there was honestly not that bad. Like, you know, I'm telling you, it was a cool job. I met so much cool people. You know, met so much people. You know, some people that went to the same high school I went in just was great above me, and also a lot of people from my school like wanted to get the job there, because I was kind of like, again, I was like a sophomore, so I was kind of like the early birds to like, get a job. You know, I was barely 16 years old, and so everyone was like, yo, put me on, and I did put some people on with the job and stuff like that. They actually got fired. You know what I mean? So probably bad luck for me, but anyways, I stayed there for very long. I stayed there for like a year. And also, I was the last one in my hiring group and my orientation group to actually stay there, man. I was the last one. I was the only guy as well, and I was the last one to stay there, man. I remember just grinding every single day. I remember there was times where I used to like close and the open next day. That was painful, man. Those were painful shifts. So I was working like usher and stuff like that for like a couple months now, or a couple months, and then after that, you get upgraded to concession, or when they need people concession, you get concession trained. And concessions, I'm not gonna lie with you, like it's the people that serve the popcorn and stuff. That was bad. I'm not gonna lie with you, that was terrible. I won't lie with you. Like it just sucked, because not only when you have to deal with customers and stuff like that, man. I'm not a customer service type of guy. I like to just do my stuff and get out there. You know, I'm not really a huge customer service guy. I don't have the patience for it. People sometimes, you know, it's just it gets me mad sometimes. But it used to be like super hot, because like the popcorn, you have to wear like this, like, you know, you have to wear pants like this shirt. You know, so it was like hot, it was like roasty. My lips used to be so dry, you know, because sometimes the line would be so long. I remember Frozen 2 came out. Oh my gosh, that was painful. When Frozen 2 came out, the lines were like freaking like forever. I thought it was never ending. Like it was just never ending. And especially working on the weekends as well, since I had school, bro, every single weekend, I mean, packed to the brim. Packed. Lines be long, bro. It's bad, man. Like your breaks get like extended to like the last minute, you know what I mean? Like you have to wait till the very last minute to get your break, because it's just so much customers barging in and stuff like that, man. It was pretty painful, I'm not gonna lie with you, but it's still fun nonetheless, man. You learn so much from working customer service. You learn how to like work a register, and you learn how to, you know, make some food and stuff like that, or like, you know, you learn what a job is. It was my first ever job, so I would say Harkins was a great experience for my first job, or the movie theaters. I'm just saying the movie theaters because people watching this video probably don't even know what Harkins is, but working at a movie theater, I mean, it was just a great experience learning about, you know, customer service and stuff. And man, working in those summers were painful. You know, I learned a lot about what to do, what not to do, and, you know, when you work a job, and what a job basically is, man. It was my first real job, first real responsibility. And I would say that, you know, it's where it all began, man. I always have respect for Harkins Theaters for hiring me. You know, had no job experience, no resume, no nothing, and they hired me on the spot. So respect, man. And I think the manager name that hired me, I don't know where she's at, but her name was like, I'm not even gonna say her name. All right, I'm just gonna call her Miss R. Okay, Miss R. I don't know what you're doing right now, but thank you. And it was just so cool, you know, it was a cool experience meeting a lot of people as well, bro. I remember the breaks. Okay, I want one more thing before I close out this video, because this video is kind of getting long there. But the breaks, I remember football season was around, and it was like 2019. It was like Kyler Murray's first season. I remember I used to, because the service in the break room used to be garbage. I mean, you get like 1-2 bars, like what? So I remember I used to have all my breaks outside. Even in the cold winter, I used to have my red sweater on, and I'll try to put up a picture. But I used to be like chilling out there with the headphones. I used to watch like football games and stuff like that on my phone. Man, those were the days, man. I remember I used to grind, bro. I literally worked every weekend, Friday to Sunday, 4 to 11. Freaking, that was my schedule every single time, 4 to 11 p.m. at night. Concession, that was really most of my schedule there. It's either that or I close, you know, usher, close concession. I remember sometimes working the weekdays as well, and working at the weekdays at the movie theaters is cake work. All right, it is absolute cake work, man. It's the easiest freaking thing in the game, but it just gets too boring. But anyways, it was such a cool job. And, you know, I remember when COVID hit as well. I'm gonna talk about, you know, what happened when COVID hit, and that's about it, man. So COVID hit, I remember, and I got laid off for like a couple months, and I was like one of the first people to come back, because, you know, I go crazy in there, man. I used to be I wouldn't say I used to be one of the best workers. Like, I didn't get my heart and soul into the job, but I was the one to get the job done. You know, like, sure, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, you know, this and that, but I got the job done, and that's all that matters. You know, that's all that matters. I got the job done, and I feel like that's why, you know, they called me back. I was like one of the first ones to go back. movie theaters open. I remember how terrible that was, man. It was just so slow. Like, I promise you guys, oh my gosh, like I used to work usher, right? Like I by myself, just by myself. Like, it was so bad, so it was just only one usher the entire shift, and I had to work that one usher. And I promise you, I walked back and forth in movie theaters like 20 times. And there's even points where I was walking, my eyes closed, and like I was like sitting in the bathroom, like in the bathroom sink, like sleeping, bro, because that's how dead it was. It was so dead. It was so bad, man. That's when I quit. That's also when I put my 2 weeks in. It was like started my senior year, and I was like, bro, I'm just gonna focus on school. I'm out of here. And not only that, man. Ever since the pandemic happened, bro, every cool coworker left. Every cool coworker that I used to work with just left, and it was just boring, and it was just bad, man. It was rough. It was very, very rough. But yeah, man, that was just how it was. So shout out the movie theaters, my first job. I definitely do think if you're getting your job, I think the movie theaters could be a great first job for you, because it was just a lot of experience. You learn basically like the cleaning, and you learn about food and stuff, and the sanitary and all that stuff. So I would definitely recommend working at a movie theaters. And I remember too, since I had my food handler's license or food handler's card, that in culinary class in junior year, I didn't have to take this test because I already had my food handler's card. So that was sick, man. So shout out Hargan Steer, shout out to movie theaters for applying me with that first job. So that being said, man, that's all I really have for you guys today. This is not really that much news or anything to talk about. So that was my story time, my first ever job. Pretty sick, man. Pretty sick. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments your first ever job. Drop a like, subscribe. I don't know if I already said that, but I guess I'll say it again. And see you guys in the next one, man. See you guys later.